watching Diecast Breakdown with Chuck Ellis, David Johns, and Mark McHotwheel. So sit back, strap in, and hang on. The breakdown starts now.
Well, hey there, folks. Chuck here, and welcome to Diecast Breakdown live at the end of the year, breaking down the best of the best in Diecast for 2024. But before we do that, I'm going to introduce my co-hosts for this very special live episode. I am joined, as I frequently am, by my colleague, friend, partner in crime, Mr. David Johns of TWYCE Diecast. David, how the heck are you?
I've never been more ready to break it down, Chuck.
We are going to break it down so hard today, David, you don't even know. And I am also joined by our new live friend, Nigel from Castheads magazine. Nigel, your title gets longer every time I see you. Creative editorial director of Castheads magazine, the coolest magazine, dare I say it, when it comes to especially 100%. Photography. I mean, just absolutely beautiful photography on your web magazine, whatever you want to call it, your publication. It's beautiful. If you want to see some of the best photos in Diecast, go to Castheads magazine. Nigel, how are you today?
I'm good, and I'm also to add to what you're saying. In this next issue, we're going to have a guest from this panel as well in the magazine. Dropping his first article.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So what could that mean?
So
well, you're gonna have to.
Exciting.
We're gonna have to.
That'll be a late Christmas present for some of you when you open your new Diecast magazine.
Castheads magazine.
Castheads.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, speaking of special surprises and presents, I want to thank the people that, with their presence and their presence, help keep this show on the air, especially our executive producer level patrons. That would be Jason, Reviews Through Another Lens, Mad Visions, Mike's Mods and Customs, TWYCE Diecast. Thanks, David. DrivenDreams.org. Go over there, check them out. Great charity. First and 64th Customs, Video Geek Productions, and of course, Dane's Self. And I do want to shout out specifically Mike's Mods and Customs. Mike has been doing some awesome stuff, especially with Driven Dreams, collecting cars in his hobby shop for kids in need. It's a really awesome cause. Go follow him on Instagram and YouTube. I believe he's still posting on Instagram anyway. But if you want to know how you can join their ranks, you can visit diecastbreakdown.com and also check out our merch. There it is. We've got some new ones out there that my brother Justin has made. Go check them out. There's a lot of good deals at the end of the year. It's worth your time to visit diecastbreakdown.com. So hopefully the rest of this episode will... Thank you. Hopefully the rest of this episode will be worth your time. But gentlemen, before we get to our top 9 of 2024, I'm going to start with you, Nigel, and kind of, sum up 2024 for us. What are some of the real standout moments for you? Not cast specifically, but there's been a lot of change in the industry. What has really kind of stood out for you this year?
Well, I must say the amount of shows that hit the ground this year in terms of diecast has been unequivocal to anything that we've seen in the past. There have been more diecast expos. The ones that have been going on for the last 2-3 years have certainly upped their game. The ones that have been existing for much longer are upping their game. So I think diecast shows and diecast expos are going to be a huge thing next year, starting from this year. We saw the first Australian Diecast Expo kick off this year.
Yep.
And then Malaysia, Indonesia, they literally went all out. I mean, Mini GT, Inno 64, all the brands that are trying to give, or actually giving Hot Wheels a run for their money, are now splashing out big time for all these shows. And I think next year is going to be very interesting. I think that's the biggest change in what has been happening in the diecast world, because the cars will come out, guys. I mean, they're pushing out cars every single day. We see new releases coming out, new pre-orders. It's game set match really for a lot of brands. who have been around for a long time. So you see them also starting off, trying hard to play catch up, and things are changing. People are making moves in different directions. In fact, a very old brand called Oxford Diecast recently
Mhm. Sure.
moved back out from Hornby back to the original owners, and they're getting ready to bring out quite a few scales. And they've, interestingly, I know a lot of people don't look at things like diecast, Oxford diecast models because they're 172, and a lot of them are usually for train set gauge and double gauge and all that. But they have been releasing some newer casting, newer type models. So even they've kind of like realized that their collectors are getting younger and want newer castings and newer models. So we see that change happening. So in terms of diecast, it's been a crazy year. You guys gave me three choices.
Impossible
I
task.
can't do three.
Well,
It was
we'll have a
it
little.
was seriously impossible.
Well, I thought it was an incredibly difficult task too, but it's I think going to be interesting because I'm pretty sure no one is going to like our picks, but
Yep.
that's okay because we wanted to really challenge ourselves, and we knew if we gave ourselves too much rope, we'd end up with a 3-hour show. So we're gonna have people stick around. I know Nigel's got some extras and some new things to show us too. So
Yeah,
if you
but
don't like our picks,
just
yeah, go
I
ahead.
just want to say one thing. I did see David's picks, and funnily enough, I had to take something off my list
Your list of
because
three.
my list of three exactly.
Mhm.
Because David had it on his one. I wonder if anyone can guess which one that is.
Yeah, both of you picked things on my list.
Good.
So
All
so
right.
I think that means that you know, we're on the same
It's a
wavelength
blind.
here.
No, it
So
means the blind's leading the blind, Chuck.
well,
That's what that means.
what it means is that I picked three that definitely nobody is going to like,
There
but
you
that's
go.
okay because I think they really speak to this year in general. David, how about you? What has 2024 meant to you in the world of diecast?
Sure, quickly. And I want to give I want to give credit to uh Lamley because I was watching his awards that he does, and I was just watching it for kind of a recap of castings that came out as I was preparing my list. I don't watch his videos as much as I used to, but in this instance, what I got from it was Hot Wheels seeing exactly what Nigel's talking about and really kind of broadening their scope of castings in their premium line. A lot of 80s, 90s, early 2000s Japanese. We see the Malaysian Proton. We've talked about that in the past on this show. But Chuck, what we gathered when we went to Collector Nationals in Atlanta this past April was a kind of a reinvigoration in the different types of vehicles that Hot Wheels is going to do. Because I think, Nigel, to your point, I think they see all these brands that are picking up traction and collectors are flocking to them. And to their credit, Hot Wheels is kind of expanding their line. I'm curious to see how far they're going to take it in 25. So I'll be watching, their premiums probably more than I have this past year.
Oddly enough, to that point, I have found myself in the last month picking up quite a few Hot Wheels, not because of anything, because they have been intriguingly attractive and really nice castings, especially some of the ones that they have done an early release of 2025. I don't
Yep.
know if you guys have seen. There's a fantastic Miata. I unfortunately the stock is downstairs and it'll take time for me to run down and get it. But I agree with you, David. I certainly agree with
I
you.
think they have jobs and they are good at what they do for a reason, and part of that is knowing what collectors are buying and what is hot. They are on social media just like we all are, and credit to them for not rolling out 55 gassers in 28 different colors every year. We're seeing some cars that 10 years ago we would have never seen come out of Mattel.
like Pop Race. If Pop Race released a gasser,
You're
it
muted,
would
Chuck.
probably be V12.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that and say, some of the, I know a lot of people this year have had a lot of beef with the RLC line, especially that whole overdrive thing that they tried. But the castings that they've announced and that are coming out, I can't wait for that 61 Lincoln Continental that's supposed to come out this year.
Doors. Yep.
Yeah, with the opening doors, I know I can't believe that the 64 Dodge pickup Power Wagon didn't sell better. I was really thinking that would do better because it's not JDM, it's not a gasser, but it is a brilliant casting that Brendan did, and it looks really good. It's really well proportioned. It's really clever. It incorporates a lot of Mopar designs from the 60s and 70s, and has an engine that has no business being in a Dodge Power Wagon that has a 413 Cross Ram, which is an engine that would have been in an Imperial or a Chrysler 300. And it's so cool. It's very clever. It's got even the little not Hemi license plate on it to, because it was definitely Brendan going, I want to do something different. I'm going to do a truck, but it's going to be 4 doors. It's going to be jacked up. It's going to have a 413 engine in it, which nobody puts a 413 in their model cars. It's always the Hemi. And we're going to, do it in antifreeze green with 70s A-body graphics on the hood. And it was just so cool that it did not make my list. It was close. If we had done 5, it would have been on my list, but
honorable mention. Yep.
Yeah, honorable mention for sure. So I think this year has definitely been a year of embracing uniqueness. I think people are going for the more obscure this year in many ways. Sadly, no 97 Toyota Paseo convertible yet.
Sorry, Rico.
Sorry, Rico. I do more campaigning for Rico's car than I do my own. I gotta stop doing that. Rico has gotten in my head, man. He's just like sitting in our comments every day going, 97 Toyota Paseo convertible.
When's it happening?
Anyway, it's gonna happen, and then I'm gonna be like, why didn't I campaign for myself?
But I'm just hoping for a 97 Camry.
Oh, that would be sweet. I actually did own a 97 Camry for a little bit.
So did I.
Yeah, those things are so plain, but so brilliant. Just that thing never broke. It was a beautiful car. Until one day it did literally just die. It just died. They were like, it was so much wrong with it at that point that it had finally just given up, and they were just like, look, by the time you get this thing together, it's going to be more than those cars worth. So I donated it to a charity or something, and I don't know what happened to it. I think it went to a tech school for kids to work on. Anyway, that's beside the point. My point is we've had a lot of new brands enter the field. We've had a lot of stylistic changes. There's been a lot of embracing of prestige fantasy, I think. And we'll get to that in a little bit, but there's been a lot of cars that are not really licensed vehicles that are still giving that same treatment and getting that same exposure, or and again, pop culture vehicles I think have been really big this year. There's been a
teaser, Chuck?
There's a little bit of a teaser, maybe. There's a lot of pop culture vehicles, a lot of movie cars and TV cars, and that might be a little bit of a teaser as well. So, all right. Well, we are 15 minutes in. I think we've teased the crowd long enough with our picks. So we're going to start with our guest, Nigel. Nigel,
should we do a round robin, or do we want to do all 3 of each? How do we want to do this?
Oh, that's a good question. I was going to do it. Let's do round robin. Why not?
Yeah.
So we'll start with Nigel. All right, Nigel, I'm going to bring yours up on the screen. You tell us all about it. And it's a great photo. Check this out.
Oh, 64. They really took my heart away this year with this model. This is the Ferrari GTO Liberty Walk Special. And I have to say, 64 has done a fantastic lineup of cars this year. But if I was to pick one out of all the cars that they put out, this one is probably my most favorite. I love the way it looks. I love the stance they gave it. They've dropped another one in white, which I have. If we have time today, I will be very glad to show that off. As a Ferrari lover, and I grew up with things like Magnum PI, so I'm always down to check out a GTO. And
Sure.
yeah, this
absolutely.
one sits on my table, unboxed and on display. It's one of the few cars that I keep open. And check out the details. I mean, that front grille they've got down pat perfect. I just they really did a good job with this casting, and kudos to them for it. I really enjoyed that.
And
Agreed on that one.
Nigel, you'd know more than most. There's not a lot of brands. Just confirm. Maybe you don't even have to say a number, but not a lot of brands get the Ferrari license. That's an honor for to be able to do those for us.
Well, it's a bit okay. So with 64, it's a bit strange because they don't really have the Ferrari license. What they're doing is they're getting the license to do these cars from the Liberty Walks,
Okay, I see. I
which
see.
is
Okay,
why you don't see
a stock one.
them doing any other Ferraris, for example.
I see.
So
Okay.
as far as 164s are concerned, the only people that do have license are BBR, Tarmac Works, but that also Tarmac Works has license to do only motorsport Ferraris. For street cars, it is BBR, Burago, and Tomica, TLVN.
Tomica, yeah. Okay. Well, this is the kind of information that we love having you here to share, Nigel.
Yeah, I didn't realize that people had licenses for just the
I love
motorsport versions of stuff. So that's really interesting.
Yep.
So, we did have a question from Gearhead 6971. He says, "You think IXO dropping the 164 semi models has anything to do with their car hauler?" Nigel, what do you think about that one?
I haven't checked. I haven't seen that their 164 models. To be very honest, to get your hands on IXO 164 models is not easy. I have to admit. The only car that I have from them is a Lamborghini, which they did in with Tarmac Works. So IXO is not a brand that I'm really familiar with. I did though pick up a 143 scale model recently. A Ford Escort Mark II by IXO, 143 scale. Wow. I mean, I'm now thinking, where has IXO been all my life? I need to get more IXO models into my collection. So I'm going to be embarking on a journey into getting some of them, because the quality of IXO's 143 is stunning.
Yeah. Well, stick around, Gearhead. I think you're going to like one of Nigel's other picks if you are into the large vehicles.
All right. Let's see what else we got. Let's see. We'll go with David next. So, David, you have decided to make this a game.
Of course. I've been accused of being extra from time to time, Chuck. So I thought we would do two things. Okay. First off, guys, the theme of my top three is past, present, and future.
Oh boy.
The first one, and it's not as clear cut as it sounds. We're talking about models that you can see on Diecast Reviews on Diecast Media Network. So the first one, Chuck, just put any of the blurred images up there because I would like for the chat to participate. While you're thinking about what this casting is and putting your guess in the chat, I will tell you that this is the future part of my past, present, and future theme here, because this will be a future model. As soon as I can get my hands on this, I am so excited about this model. As soon as I can get this will be straight to the front of the line on Diecast Reviews. Again, which you can see here on DMN exclusively. But let's see if we have any guesses for what this vehicle might be.
Okay.
I see a few, and I do think that you guys are nailing it. Let's go ahead and cut to the clear version. I don't have this one live in studio, but of course we're talking about the Astrovan. Yeah.
If they were Castheads fans.
Yeah. You'd see it. You would see it, and you would see these pictures probably. This Chevy Astrovan is right up there with the Dodge Caravan from last year, Chuck. That's what my collection is all about, is the quirky, the obscure, the overlooked. I am really excited about this. I'm so excited about the paint scheme. Look at the badge on the door.
Look at it, sir.
The gold rims. Everything about this looks completely nailed by Tomica Limited Vintage.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be one you guys are going to have to order online, but it's well worth the effort. Just everything about it. What are your thoughts, gentlemen? I love the roof rails. I love the rubber molding going down the doors and the front bumper. Everything about this is perfect for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Go ahead, Nigel.
Chuck, no, Chuck, please go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, this car screams my childhood. This van. I had several friends whose parents drove them around in these things. They were from a unique era of minivan. These were front engine, rear wheel drive vehicles on a truck frame. Obviously, nothing would be done like that now, but these were just so boxy, so utilitarian,
Yep.
so so GM parts bin, and now to have it immortalized in a 1/64 scale at this level of detail. Hot Wheels has an Astro van, but it's a funny car, like a dragster van, but I don't think anybody else has ever done an Astro van in 1/64, and definitely not at this detail.
Not the grocery getter mom wagon for sure. This is next level.
No, absolutely. Nigel, what do you think?
I love it. I love it so much. Everyone else hates it. That's how much I love it.
There you go.
No, seriously, this has got to be one of the coolest castings that TLVN did this year. Forget the Skylines, forget the GTRs, forget the Sylvias, forget everything. This one was absolutely epic. And if anybody wants to have a closer look at this, and we have time at the end of the show, I have this model plus the color variation that came out at the same time with me. Quite happy to show you guys on camera. And what's interesting is when I brought this up on the Diecast Media Network a few shows ago, of course you guys loved it, and David was like, why would Tomica do something like this? This seems kind of like a bit off the rails for Tomica. So I did a bit of research into that, and it turns out that Japan had a huge love affair with the American vans during the 80s, especially Dodge vans, and they had a complete, being the Japanese and being awesome, especially when it comes to motor cars like Bozozuku and all these other categories they had something called Dojiban, which was these modified Dodge vans. And after that, of course, the Astro and all of these boxy vans of this sort of shape, got a modified life in Japan. And they all fell into this thing called the Dojiban. So it was a cult classic, and that is why it features in TLVN's portfolio, because it is one of those iconic cult classics in Japan. So there you go.
Good on them. Good on them.
No, I know a little bit about Dajiban type culture, and in fact, Hot Wheels released, was it this year or last year? I think it might have been last year that they released their Dajiban inspired Dodge van that has a go-kart inside of it. It's a really cool casting. It's, again, unfortunate that it's not true 1/64 scale, but I get why it's not, because Hot Wheels are built for a track and need to be a certain size.
Then you can go get the tarmac one.
Yeah, the tarmac one is in the same vein, and it's brilliant as well. But this one, to do it in bone stock, to do it with the factory two-tone and the trim and the 3-color wheels, and it just looks fantastic. Even the way the rubber on this thing just looks like real tire rubber. But excellent choice. That was one of mine on my list as well, Dave.
I was looking away, and I was looking at the vans on my side. And yes, this was also on my list.
Yeah,
I knew it would be, guys. That's why I got my list in first.
Yeah, the first mover advantage here. So all right, well, I guess it's my turn, and I'm going to do a little bit of a controversial one. They're all, well, not really all of them, but we'll start with the big one. So this is mine. This is the cartoons 1947 Chevy Fleet side. And like I said, this year has been a year about uniqueness, about stretching the boundaries of what the culture is, what the collecting is about. And I do have to hand it to Lewis and the team over at Cartoon for doing something that somehow managed to build such incredible buzz. And, if I'm thinking about 2024, you can't talk about Diecast in 2024 without bringing up Cartooned at some point, because it just kind of made this huge splash. It had chases selling on eBay for, 5 figures, which is insane. I don't know if that one, it was up to like 12 grand at some point, but that can't possibly have been real. The one that did really sell did sell for, I think, 1,400 or 1,500 bucks. So the buzz has been strong with these. And for me, it's, the casting is great. I like the detail. I like the little spotlights. I like that Lewis, when he designed these, has designed them to be kind of modular. So in future series, some of them don't have the visors, some of them do. They have little tricks that he's made. But for me, the paint is what really stands out on these cars. And unfortunately, you really can't see it in this photo, but the paint on these things is so iridescent.
That's not dust. That is
sparkle
flake. Yeah.
And it is some of the best paint I've ever seen on a diecast. And well, I know that the Cartoon line is kind of a love it or hate it kind of thing. And Gearhead's saying they're still not in his area yet. Maybe White Line Tires would have finished it. For the Astro. He's talking about the Astro. I was going to say, well, yeah. And I agree with Dan. I like the marketing strategy and packaging. The packaging is brilliant. There's all sorts of Easter eggs in it. The speed swap chassis system that Lewis came up with, where you can kind of switch the bases around, raise and lower the heights. It's just a really clever innovation on an existing thing. And I picked this one in particular just because I like these old late 40s cars, and it's not one that you see in diecast very often. I'm very excited for what's ahead for them. And so that was my first choice. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
I love it. And I echo every single thing you said about the impact that Lewis and his team made on our hobby. Let's not forget all the extras that you get. You get, just absolutely banger wheels, tires with tread. You mentioned that you can swap them out with other castings. I guys, I can't tell you, I've got this exact car myself. This is the level of paint that you get on a $30, $40, $50 resin model. And that is not me blowing smoke either. It is stunning how the light will pop off of this guy right here. Nigel, your thoughts?
To be very honest, I like the way it looks, but that is the most that I can say, because I haven't had the pleasure of being able to get my hands on any of these.
We've got to fix that. We have got to fix that. I will bug him about that, because you need to see these in person. You got to see them to appreciate them.
I've been actually scouring the local online shops as well to see if anybody's got any of these on like private order or something like that, but unfortunately absolutely nothing has come this side. But from what I see and hear, and I think it's great. Like I said earlier, for me these are more than die-cast models. I mean, or actually they kind of epitomize what die-cast models is all about, which is show and tell. These are beautiful pieces that you put on your mantelpiece, and people come home and they look at it and go, wow, that's something really nice. And it appeals to, people beyond die-cast model car collectors as well, because there are people out there who appreciate the artistic value in these. And I think that's what's really cool about it. And this is coming from someone who's just seeing pictures of it, because I haven't been able to experience all the other cool stuff that you guys are talking about, like the ability to change the ride height, the ability to change the wheels. But I must say, hearing what you guys talk about and hearing the way you guys talk so passionately about it, I really feel like I've been left out. So I guess that's kind of a good thing too, because it means that when this finally does hit across the world on a bigger scale, I think the team behind it is going to enjoy a lot of success and in terms of sales because there's a lot of excitement.
Agreed.
Yep. No, you'll
All right.
love them.
No, well said. So yeah, no, that's kind of been the thought. I've seen a few people that don't really care for them, and I get it. It's not for everyone. I will say though, the wheels, and David and I, it's funny, we had talked about this earlier. I think at least a year ago, because David was saying, I really wish there were more wire wheel options in 1/64 scale, and now you have a pretty readily available one for a very reasonable price. I will say the axles are a bit thicker than your usual diecast axle. So if you are going to put them in another 1/64 scale car, you might have to get creative and cut your chassis to make it fit. But that's just something I experienced as I was customizing mine. And there should be a build video coming up pretty soon here on me customizing some
That's
cartoon
very
cars.
nice.
So,
I can't wait for that.
Oh, thank you. So, all right, Nigel, we have another pick from you. I'm going to bring it up on screen. And this is another one. Nigel and I in lockstep here on this one. So yes.
What did Johnny Lightning throw this one? This is like a grenade. This is Johnny Lightning's grenade to Diecast 164 for 2024. They threw this in and kept quiet. And to be honest, this should have been everywhere. And I'm really, really proud that Castheads magazine was one of the first I wouldn't say influencers, but diecast media
Creators.
guys to get one of these, to feature one of these. And man, this is absolutely gorgeous. I don't think anyone can look at this and go, nah. And this ties in line with what you were saying about this year having some really fantastic pop culture movie themed vehicles coming out. Funnily enough, though, the packaging had nothing to do with any movie or anything like that. It did come in a pop culture package, but it sold itself more as the cult classic Toyota pickup, and the details, the KC painted on the yellow front lights, and all those things that scream 1980s. The engine was fairly detailed as well. This has to be a crowd stopper, and I'm really, really, really happy that Johnny Lightning are showing that they also can play for keeps in this 164 game.
Sure.
Yep, absolutely.
And this is part of for those who don't know, all the new Johnny Lightning castings are true 1/64 scale, and that would include this one. So again, a brilliant move by Round 2 to really embrace what they've done with Auto World and make all their vehicles, all their new castings anyway, 1/64 scale. It's funny because at first I thought this was the Diecast Talk version, which is very similar. And I will say has a bit of an edge on it as far as details go. I mean, the tailgate goes down, the wheels you can position and steer. The engine is very detailed, but it was also 3 times the price, and it was also only available for like half a second on Diecast Talk before it sold out. And I was able to get one for me and one for my brother, and then they were all gone. There were only 1,400 of them. So this is a third of the price point, and you're not really missing out on any detail. It's a beautiful casting. They even got the red dot on the front wheels correctly. So straight out of the movie, and they had to skirt some stuff with their licensing. They didn't actually have licensing from Universal to do this, so this is just a custom Toyota pickup here that does not have anything to do with the fact that it coincidentally looks just like their just like their ratty 69 Dodge Charger Daytona.
Right,
it's just nothing to do with that.
Hey, this is from their "If You Know, You Know" series.
Exactly.
Needs more scrutiny.
Yeah, exactly. And they've done this before. They've done their Trivial Pursuit line has been really clever, where they were able to sneak in the truck from Gran Torino and the car from Training Day and the car from Tucker. Wayne's World. Yeah, exactly. So
I have to say, guys, before we move on, one thing. And my hair is looking kind of weird with that my hair was live hair styling. Right.
There we go.
I have to say, With all the brands that have come out with all the scales they have done this year,
Mhm.
for collectors, I think round two really did some backside whooping, because this is a brilliant casting in 164. And if we had expanded this to 118 scale, I was going to throw in their John Wick Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah. No,
Wow, wow, wow. That was absolutely epic. And I have to say, with this and this pickup, what's so great about it is, like you said, Chuck, the price, right?
Mhm.
The price is fantastic. The casting looks great. And, it's just an all rounder. So for
Mhm.
me, if I were to, even if I had 20, this would be in the top five, because this is definitely one of those all rounder 164 castings that, it looks gorgeous. It has lots of nostalgic value, and it's fantastically priced.
Yeah, absolutely.
agreed.
So
I think round two really like you said, punches above their weight class. They've managed to find a way to do a really premium product without doing the lensed headlamps that make David John's eyes glisten and shimmer. But still come up with something that looks really, really good at a price point that is unbelievable. That in
It
some
really
stores
is.
it's cheaper than a Hot Wheels Premium.
Yep.
It's crazy. So all right, excellent pick that I think absolutely. Now I will add to that the Diecast Talk Pizza Planet one that just dropped was very cool. That was another one that was in the running for me, but because you picked a Toyota Hilux, I decided I would not pick another Toyota pickup for this line. So that I did want to shout that one out. The Pizza Planet version and the Back to the Future version are both very cool. So all right, David.
Give us a blurred one. See if you got the black vehicle.
Yes.
Here we go.
Speaking
All right.
of,
While I am getting this guy ready, we're going to crack it. I've got it in my hands today. Let's see if anybody can guess what this is. There have been several teasers or unexpected segues as we talked about the last vehicle. I see a couple guys are already all over it. We can go ahead and cut to me now, Chuck. This, of course, is going to be from 2024 release 2 ad in round 2. This is what everybody's guessing, the Celica Supra. One of my most anticipated releases this year. We're going to try something here. I don't know how this is going to work. I just wanted to show the package. We're going to crack this guy open. I've got a second cam going. We'll put it on the turntable as we talk about it, if we can get a good, clean image of it. This was one that came out early in 24, and I love the color choice. I love the interior. We have got, to my benefit, Chuck, we don't have any headlamps because these are pop-ups and these are down. So I don't have any lensed headlamp chagrin to worry about on this one. Look at the wheels, the chrome wheels. The red interior is amazing. Tail lamp detail looks good. I love that round 2 always gives you a license plate. You've got a metal base, spoiler on the back of this guy. Just really blown away by it and love the choice. They hit us with the 1990 Eclipse last year as well. So they have been on a roll. And Nigel, to your point and Chuck's point, for the price, guys, I don't know if there's a better deal in diecast. So let's talk about the Supra. What do you like about the car itself? What do you like about this casting?
Nigel, you take it.
This is going to look fantastic next to my Toyota Hilux.
There you
go. Seriously, I love it. I cannot complain. I love the car. It's a fantastic model, and I'm glad to see more of these models coming up now. Bit tired of the oversized Liberty Walks and the RWBs and all that. So it's nice and refreshing to see stock standard on such a classic car. Again, fits like you guys said earlier, the Mitsubishi Eclipse that they did earlier, and if people were fortunate enough to get the Starion, this just slots in perfectly with all those cars. If I were out there looking at a shelf full of Auto World and Johnny Lightning, I would definitely pick this up. Definitely.
I mean, honestly, guys, to walk in and hand somebody $6 or $7 and get this car as a diecast collector, you're just not going to do better than that.
Yeah.
Chuck,
Yeah.
No,
And it has an opening hood.
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can cut away. I'll pull this up. I want to show that interior if I can get the hood up. And it's sticking for me right now, but it does have an opening hood.
That's
Yeah,
right.
It's in there pretty good. We'll move on to the next one, but this is my
battered
second
Supra.
one. Yeah, this is my number 2 for this year.
No, I think that's a great choice. I am fortunate enough to have an autographed Lamley one with the white one that had the red, orange, and yellow,
the race team
stripes, the race team version of that
That
casting.
was a nice one.
And that was a gift from John when he came to visit us, and I beat David over the head and took it so that he couldn't have it. But
true story.
I was like, I need this in my life. So I agree with you. It's a beautiful casting, and I think that's one of the few cars that I will actually not crack because of the specialty of it and the fact that it's signed. But I agree. That was another one that I was considering, and again made me veer away from round 2 altogether, because I was like, okay, we're really gonna be hitting round 2 pretty good with this. So
sponsored video.
Exactly. All right. You guys, I've purposely not shared mine with you because I know already, this next one is going to have problems. And I know that Nigel's probably guessed which one it is, but here it is.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Yep.
All right. Always causing mischief.
Now, let me explain. Hear me out. Hear me out on this one.
Defend your choice.
I will defend this one because it's not so much the casting, it's what was done. Nigel is leaving the room. He is just like, I am out. These guys don't know what they're talking about. This guy is an idiot. No, hear me out. I love that this car really kind of elevated the weathered vehicle look. There's been some really good ones, including the Diecast Talk Pizza Planet truck that came out. I love the concept of this this is a casting that's uniquely weathered. It's got built-in dents to it. I would love to see more castings like this, with things like the taped taillights. And the thing that really stood out to me was the window detailing. The fact that it's got "Wash Me" written on the rear window in like that fogged detail, like it would have been written on the dust. And it's got parking tickets on the windshield, and it's got mismatched tires and wheels. And so would I have loved this to be an actual licensed casting? Absolutely, I would have. But for what it was, and the fact that this was, if you know this artist Mischief, he does a lot of kind of Banksy style pranking, and his name is Mischief. He did this really fun thing where he bought like I think it was an Andy Warhol or a Picasso or something, and then made like he bought like a sketch for $25,000, and then he made 250 exact replicas of it, to the point that no one could tell which one was the real one and which one was the fake, including him. And then took all 250 of them and sold them for like 250, whatever it was. He ended up like quadrupling his money, and everybody just got a piece of his artwork that could actually be a Picasso. And so he does like these really weird kind of social commentary pieces. And so yeah, Gearhead saying, so digging the concept, but maybe not the car, Chuck. Yeah, that's although I do kind of dig the car too, because I like, I grew up playing games like Driver and Grand Theft Auto, where they were, these cars that were kind of sort of inspired by real cars, but weren't actual licensed real vehicles. And I like the just the bumper stickers, and I like the concepts. I like the fact that this was released as a premium car. I like that it mimicked a mainline, the presentation of it, the mainline looking card, and all the goofy stuff that was written on it. So Nigel, tell me why I'm wrong.
You're not wrong.
There you go. You've won them over, Chuck.
No, my only problem with this was the fact that it was it was a money grabber from Hot Wheels, and the more I see it, the more I think it is, because it's Hot Wheels' ability to be the how should I put it, the Goliath of the 164, and throw down, the ability to team up with people like this and all of that, and try and outdo the small guys who have been just trying to fill a space that Hot Wheels neglected for a long time. And sometimes that feels like a bit of a David and Goliath situation, and then they drop something like this, which they know is going to get a lot of money and it's going to get a lot of people buying it and stuff like that, because it's not a bad thing. I mean, there are pieces of it that I do like I like the rusted out drum, brake drum at the back. And I do agree with the little details like wash me and the parking tickets on the front and the half roll down window and all that. And it does fit into what Chuck said about, hitting those nostalgic points of playing Driver and Grand Theft Auto, the really old versions, right? And Hot Wheels thought about that. And they had a research and development department, and they thought about that, and they put this out. They teamed up with Mischief and all that, to kind of like show off that they can do this, and the little guys won't be able to do this. And it felt like a money grabber, and it felt like, look at us going squish and squash. That was my problem with it. But as a casting, it's absolutely fine.
Yep, that's fair.
I understand that, and yes, it is interesting to me that of all the cars out there to make, that there are so many cars that people are begging to have made, that they went with something like this instead of creating a unique casting or a casting of a actual vehicle. And I my one real beef with this is I don't like the blue stuff on top of it, the weird blue ridges. I've never seen a car that, maybe that's a customizing technique I haven't seen before, but I think that looks really bad. But if it had a true flat roof to it, I would have liked
I
it
thought
more.
I thought it was a Fast and the Furious.
I think that's some AutoZone DIY.
Maybe like some tape or something. Yeah. So.
Yes, go fast stripes.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, that was my number 2. Let's see. We're back to Nigel, and this one is a big one. So let's check it out. All right. Let's talk about this, Nigel. What are we looking at?
Mini GT's Mercedes Actros 164 scale with that massive 40-foot container at the back. I'm a huge truck fan. I've loved trucks from the time I was 4 years old. And what's really interesting is I've been doing some research in this toy shop locally, and they've been buying up a lot of these old Matchbox trucks that I recognize from my childhood. And to see the way 164 trucks have come from then to now is just, again, absolutely amazing, the details and so on and so forth. And what's cool about this is they've not only released the truck, but they also released the line with American diorama of figurines and accessories that go with the truck. So that also is extremely cool, because then you've got a nice little, like Diecast dude says, a nice little set there. And yes, it is a metal container. You can open it, you can put stuff in it. It detaches, it stands by itself. It is really an epic piece. And this is not the only truck they released this year. They also did an Advan version as well. They did two of these trailer trucks this year, and I chose this one because of the fact that it comes with the figurines and the accessories as well. That kind of like adds a bit more flavor to anybody's diecast photography or display, to be very honest.
No, it's an excellent choice, Nigel. And I right away, as soon as I saw the picture, I was like, I bet Diecast Dude is all over this. He loves those accessories, and I believe he's got some UPS liveries in his collection as well. But to your point, when you add, and I'm slowly being converted, Chuck, on how much accessories add to the whole experience, because this adds another level of realism. You get a consistent scale with your other models, and when I look at this picture, it makes you look at all the details on the model, because you know that things are in scale. And when I start to see all the other details, and I don't just see a Matchbox 18-wheeler from the early 2000s that was pretty generic, I look at this and I'm like, this is a miniature tractor trailer, and it's beautiful.
No, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I think the truck itself is interesting. I didn't realize that the container itself was metal, which is very rare in this scale. So I think that's very cool. But the thing that catches my eye is the little figures that go with it. I think that's just really, really clever. And, something that I think American Diorama has been doing really, really well with their sets. I really appreciate those. They're always tempting me whenever I see them.
Bring your diecast to life.
Exactly. So,
I can tell you they're going to be launching. They're going to be doing now. So American Diorama and Mini GT have been doing this for a while. They've got Liberty Walks figures to go with some of the Liberty Walks cars. They've got Kaido House figures to go with some of the Kaido House cars. And now they are going to be doing 180 scale figures to go with Solido cars.
Oh,
interesting. How about that? Lido. Wow.
Yep.
That's a blast from the past. Is that UK based, Lido? All those
No, not Lido, Solido.
Solido. Okay, I was about to say, I didn't know they were still around.
I think Lido is still around, if I'm not mistaken, but they're marketing
they're making
some other brands as well.
Panel vans and
All right, I've got.
Well, I have been.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Chuck. Go ahead.
No. Please continue. I'm going to change the subject. Go ahead.
So, like I said, I've been doing some research in this toy shop that I've been working in, and it's basically they buy a lot of models from people who've passed on and people looking to liquidate their collection and all. And I've been experiencing a lot of these Lido models and a lot of these Oxford models and some of these really old cars. But the detail is just absolutely fantastic. And hopefully I will have in my hand some models that have come out from a new line. I can't remember what it's called, but it's all circus-based models from the 1930s and the 1920s.
Interesting.
So, some of these models are fantastic. They look beautiful and just,
What scale are these in?
164.
Wow. I'll have to get some of those because my great grandfather was a welder for the Ringling Circus, and he actually worked on their trucks. So that would be very cool. So I'll have to check that out. But yeah, I grew up in Sarasota, where the winter headquarters for the Ringling Circus was. So that's where they were.
That is so cool.
Based on that, he would work on like the cannon trucks that the acrobats would use to launch that. So he would weld the panels on those. So, but yeah, that's really cool. Anyway, we had a couple of interesting comments. Jay Goldenberg pointed out if you're going to call out Hot Wheels on the vehicle, then you have to call them out on everything else bad in this hobby they're complicit in, which, Hot Wheels is the 10,000 pound gorilla in the room. They do set the rules, and sometimes it feels like they abuse them. I agree with that. Their overdrive thing that they did. But yeah, I don't know. Hot Wheels is going to Hot Wheels, and I still argue that Hot Wheels collecting and diecast collecting are two very different hobbies. That you can be a diecast collector who collects Hot Wheels, but if you're a Hot Wheels collector that focuses on Hot Wheels, that is an entirely different breed of cat. And yeah, that's a fandom thing, and that's fine. Like both I think are valid collecting
I think that's
things, but they're very different. Like there's there are people, like, having gone to an event that was specifically for Hot Wheels and seeing the people that are just like, it truly ain't the same without the flame, and it's got to be a Hot Wheels car. That's a very different mindset than people who buy for castings, buy for something specific. So again, I give Hot Wheels a pass because Hot Wheels is doing Hot Wheels and everybody else is doing miniature cars. So I think they're different philosophies, and but yeah, Hot Wheels can abuse their power a little bit and do some money grabby things, but that's their job. Their job is to make money. So anyway.
All right. Well, I challenge, if anybody gets my last one.
Oh, David.
You gonna do something else?
We got one more thing.
Oh, my bad.
Because we were talking about this, and that led up into this one through sponsor reviews through another lens. Thank you, executive producer level sponsor. Very curious what the host's opinions are on the Arsham collab, the Daniel Arsham collab. Which for those who don't know, I'm going to pull that up real quick. I grabbed a few photos of that. These were the eroded cars that Hot Wheels did that sold out. So since I feel like this kind of played into that previous conversation, but these were another one that kind of people loved them or hated them. The Porsches all went immediately, and I think you can still buy the Mustang. I kind of wanted, this is I think the only time I wanted to get the what is it called? It's not the Dixie Challenger anymore. It's called the something else. This one back here, the stylized Charger that Larry designed. But anyway, I think you can still buy the Mustang on Mattel.com. So, gentlemen, did you have any specific thoughts on this particular collab with an artist?
Okay, I'll be brief, Nigel, because you probably know more about this than me. I liken this to, if you don't like what's on TV, change the channel. I like that this stuff is out there for the people that know his art, that know that are into pop culture. I love the crossover and how our hobby can be relevant and current with other things that are, for lack of a better word, buzzworthy. I'll never buy one. I have no affinity for the artwork. I certainly don't have any super brand loyalty to Hot Wheels, but I'm glad that for people that this crosses over into two interests, I'm glad that it's there. And for more people to be able to enjoy diecast, even if it is adjacent because of their love for an artist, I'm all for it. That's my piece.
Yeah. Nigel, your thoughts?
I agree with David. I also agree with you, Chuck. When you say that there are two types of collectors, there's the 164 collectors and then there's Hot Wheels collectors. Personally, and this is purely personal, right? Because people out there listening in, please understand that as much as you expect your opinion to be respected, this is my personal opinion. It does not reflect the opinion of anyone else's. I don't like it because I feel it's a bit elitist, and it goes back to what I was saying about Hot Wheels saying, okay, we can slam down our power as Mattel to do these collabs with people and do this sort of thing, and get our name out there and move us into all these different spaces and all. However, it's because I always like to root for the underdog, and that's how I see Hot Wheels compared to all the other brands that are out there. But I do understand that Hot Wheels also has to have a business plan, and they've got to move forward. They've got to sell in different aspects, and if they want to create art pieces that they can sell for, large amounts of money, and if there are people there to buy it, it's good for them. It's brilliant. To be very honest, there is one Porsche in that set that I would definitely buy myself, and that's the one that comes with the livery, not the plain white ones.
Right.
I would like to have that, but I won't kill myself to have it, and I certainly won't say no to all the other. Yeah, you see the one that's on the
Yep.
right hand side of the Mustang. I do
Mhm.
love that as a Porsche lover, but I'm not a big fan of Daniel's work. And yeah, I mean,
You'd pick it up at a boot sale if you saw it.
yeah, yeah. But I
Yeah.
do understand where Hot Wheels is coming from. So
Mhm.
I agree with both David and Chuck's point. And while agreeing with you all, I still chuck in my little 2 cents worth for and
Sure.
it's obviously also big corporation
Mhm.
style of thinking as well.
Sure.
We're not going to say they're innocent and they're not thinking that.
Yeah.
They're obviously going to think of all the different game plans that they can to come up with to steal attention from everything else.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
It is. And for those who don't know, Daniel Arsham is famous for doing things that are eroded, look like they've eroded out of stone. So I saw someone mention that they look like battle damage. It's not battle damage. It's just supposed to symbolize like erosion in like a stone structure. And I thought they were interesting. Thank you to everyone who corrected me. It was the Roger Dodger is the name of the one that replaced the Dixie Challenger. I should have known that. But that is this one back here that looks kind of like a 73 Dodge Charger. And I don't know. There's the part of me that likes weathered and damaged stuff. I can dig it, but it's also not damaged metal. So it's not the same thing. So yeah, I wasn't going to go out of my way for it. I think they're interesting as maybe an art piece, but not really something that I would have in my collection. Now, the Arsham cars are very fossil-like, says Goldenberg. Yeah, and I believe were they diecast or were they actually made? I thought I saw somewhere that they were actually made out of like a soapstone type thing. Some of them were anyway, which I think is kind of interesting. Let me see. I was gonna look that up, and I can't see it immediately, so I'm not gonna do that.
Says Rico.
Sandstone. Okay, cool. Thank you, Rico. So yeah, clearly ancient culture worship these chariots of the gods and immortalize them in stone. Thanks, Max. Yes, clearly. So all right. Well, that was my little tangent there on Hot Wheels. So we'll get back to David. Once again, you've got a blurry image to show us.
Yeah, this is a challenge. I am curious if anybody can tell me what this is.
I knew what it was.
Okay, well, you've probably heard me rant and rave and ooh and ah over these. I'll give you a hint, guys. My collection has lots of cars from other parts of the world that I did not grow up knowing, and I am enjoying getting to know cars from around the world. You're on the right track, Eddie. And this is certainly a brand. We've interviewed the creator last year, and this is from the second series of you're right, Sean. Second series of the first batch of cars that this company out of Australia is doing. Go ahead, Chuck, if we could flip over to the TWYCE cam.
Yeah. Let's see here.
This is a Ford XC sedan, Falcon 500. And it's a car your grandma would come pick you up in after school. And it's just that boring for me to love it. It's brown. I don't think you could cross any more boxes or check any more boxes for how to make a boring car, but I love it. Oz Wheels is another company. As I was looking at this one, these are hefty cars. You get front end, rear detail. The only thing you don't get right now are interiors. This is a metal body, metal base, rubber tires with tread, accurate wheels. You get full paint jobs, and once they start adding interiors, which they are going to, this is going to be right up there with round two for me. Right up there with some of the other premium brands, and these are not really marketed as premium cars. So Oz Wheels, if you didn't hear the first time, is the brand all about Australian classic cars and iconic cars that they are super proud of over there. We had the pleasure of talking to Jesse. Chuck, you'll remember that conversation. And he was
Absolutely.
just thrilled to be bringing some of these Australian models. And Australian cars are a thing for me, guys, that I have. That's been a huge part of keeping me in the hobby and things that get me excited. So curious to your thoughts about the brand, and maybe not necessarily this particular Falcon, but just, Oz Wheels in general.
Shout out to Jesse, by the way, for showing up in a suit to our interview. It
Best
made me
dressed
feel
guest to date.
Yes, we were just like, do you always wear a suit? And he was like, no, I got an interview, so I'm going to wear a suit. And I was like, that's adorable. I love you. Thank you.
While wearing our t-shirts.
Exactly. So, but yeah, Nigel, what do you think of Oz Wheels? Have you had a chance to check them out?
I haven't seen them up in close in person, but I really like this paint job. From what I'm seeing, that is a really nice looking paint job. It looks like there's easily about 2 or 3 coats on that. So
100%.
it looks like it's got a nice thick coat. And back to what David said about the Falcon XC being a boring car. No, it's not. In fact, don't forget that the Falcon XC was featured in Mad Max.
Yep.
As one of the cop cars. So, as boring as American American, not even muscle cars, but they're ship cars, those old Oldsmobiles that, just moved around like the Titanic on the road, when they were given souped up engines and tinkered by the crazies in the garage, it gave them absolutely new life. And in Australia, that's what they did with these Ford Falcons. These Ford Falcons were heavily souped up with superchargers, and they were quite the iconic car. So what's really lovely about cars like this is how they went from being absolutely, like David said, your grandma picking you up, to bonker crazy nuts in the hands of young guys who didn't have access to supercars, but did have a fantastic base to build upon. And what's cool is Oz Wheels is bringing those cars to light. So we're going to be seeing a lot of people finding new interests in new cars, and I don't see why these cars can't come as resto mods and as modified cars. I mean, it doesn't have to be Skylines all the time. Why can't we have Falcon XCs given nice wide body kits? I love to see cars like these get wide body kits and get the whole modification treatment, and take the stage, because they're good engines as the Japanese engines. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just that they haven't had that much of exposure in terms of what sort of cars they are. And this is what's really interesting about this hobby. And I just to digress for 1 second, tomorrow I'm getting a car from Automodello called the ISO Griffin.
I love that car.
Yes.
I've never seen it before until Automodello called me up and said, we would like to send this to you. And I did a bit of research on it, and it is stunning. It is an absolutely beautiful looking, well-shaped car. So I'm getting the orange version of that, and I think it's going to be the cover of one of our future mags. But seeing cars like this and getting to know new brands, and for young people especially who've never seen cars like this, who base their car knowledge purely on what they see online, which is really skewed to GTRs and Nissans and Supras and so on and so forth. These cars are definitely hold a special place. It's nice to see Australia coming up with these.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And for those of you who are curious, I've been told that Oz Wheels are adding interiors to their vehicles. Is that correct, David?
That's what I hear too, from several sources. So you add that to the mix, and you have got a true premium line of really interesting cars. Super excited for Oz in the future.
Yeah. Diecast Life and Death says that Matchbox has done the ISO Griffo since the 60s regular wheels. That is true. There is that. And what's fun is those were powered by good old American Chevy big blocks. There were some that were 351 Ford powered, but most of them were Chevy 357s or 454s, which is just a fun little thing, kind of like the Panteras were Ford V8 powered. But I think that's a very cool casting for sure. I want to get some of those. I know that they also did some barn find versions of their cars as well, their castings.
And if you'll recall real briefly with Jesse in his interview, he wanted to highlight exactly what Nigel was saying, how the culture was basically turning these things into beasts with pretty limited stuff to work with. So they have a slammed edition where it's all custom. They've got barn find editions that are patinaed. It's just the whole gamut. Everything that Australians love about their cars, Jesse has it for you with Oz Wheels.
Yep. All right. Awesome. All right. I guess I'm going to wrap things up here. I've got the last one here, and I did pick a fairly normal one, and I picked one that is a brand that nobody's highlighted yet. This is the 1976 Cadillac Eldorado convertible from Greenlight with a conspicuous set of hood ornaments on it. Some bull horns in a
long horn.
Yeah. So, this is another one of those things where they're skirting some licensing issues. And this is definitely not Boss Hogg's Cadillac, even though it looks like Boss Hogg's Cadillac. So for those of you who've been in the hobby for a while and grew up watching Dukes of Hazzard, you know that Ertl has long been the only brand that you could get a Cadillac quite like this. Actually, Matchbox had a version similar to it. They had one that was pretty close, but I think it was a 75. So this is a 76 and is in true 1/64 scale and has those iconic bullhorns on it. There are several different versions of this casting out there, including a version of it that's the last convertible Cadillac that was made in 1976 when they stopped making convertible Cadillacs. This was the last year they did it for a very long time until I believe the Alante brought it back in the late 80s. But I think this is it was either this one or the 73 Ford Thunderbird that they did for the Crow, which was another really, really good casting. That has that pop culture. It's perfect for me. It's true 1/64 scale. It's Malaise. It's pop culture. So the Cadillac edged it out for me over the 73 Thunderbird, but just a very well proportioned rendition of this casting. Really nice white wall tires. You've got the correct Cadillac hubcaps on it. Just a very nice presentation from Greenlight of a car that a lot of people have wanted for a very long time in a true premium layout. So I'm going to start with Nigel. Your thoughts on this one?
I love it. This is the quintessential 10-gallon hat-wearing bad boys car.
Yep.
And it's not just the Dukes of Hazzards, I mean, there are a lot of cars from a lot of movies from the 1970s and the 1980s, not just movie series also, where a lot of the bad guys, the dubious guys, had very, very similar cars. So this one takes me back. I always love castings that have nostalgic value to me. And this one, I just love the whole fact that it's campy white. It's just over the top, seedy, bad guy. I love it.
No, we get you. And Nigel, what I like about this is Greenlight always, to me, always does wheels well. Chuck, I love the white walls. I love that's not garbage hubcaps. That looks like what you would get. You're right. The proportions on this car, when you look at this side profile of this car, it is exactly what that car looked like. And Greenlight is a brand that, I don't know, sometimes they're right on my radar and sometimes they slip a little because of all these other brands. But Greenlight has been putting out quality for a pretty good while now. And I appreciate their effort, and for them to still be exploring new series that they offer, it is good on them as well.
Yeah, I agree. And correction from Diecast Life and Death. This is why I love doing the lives, by the way, is they keep me
100%.
keep me so honest. Diecast
Right.
Life and Death. Ertl used the DeVille, not the Eldorado. Touche. Diecast Life and Death.
All these Davids, they know what they're talking about.
Exactly.
So,
So
making us
all
look
right.
good.
Well, thank you for keeping things straight here. So all right. Well, those are our top 9. If you have some that you would like to nominate as your favorite castings, brand new castings of 2024, leave them in the comments below and we will bring them up on a future episode. We are going to do another end of the year episode live with Honest Diecast and Phia of Mad Visions as we get closer to the end of the year. But we wanted to have Nigel on and have him talk about his favorites early on, because I know he's got a bunch of stuff going on, and we want to make sure he's probably for the end of the year. Nigel, before I get too much farther, we had a question for you. I'm trying to find who it was, but they wanted to know who is doing 1/18th scale best, was their question for Nigel.
Oh, that is a tough one because
we
All
love putting you on the spot, Nigel.
okay, I'll say this: if you're looking for American muscle, I think round 2 doing some pretty amazing stuff. They cost over $100, but they're not over 150, so you get a good price point. And the details, you got engine details that are pretty good, right down to like the warning stickers on some of the on the carburetor and on the battery and stuff like that. So Auto World definitely is something to look at. And what's cool about Auto World is they don't do too many castings in 1/18 scale. So if you're a collector, you have a nice amount of time spanned in between releases. Solido, though, in terms of 1/18, is really picking up the pace. And I'll have to say this: Solido, GT Spirit, and Automobile are increasing their Japanese domestic market models. I think GT Spirit is going to try very hard to give Ignition model run for its money. They have just released a beautiful GR Supra in Advan livery, and the detail on the spoilers and everything is absolutely fantastic. So we're looking at cheaper than an Ignition model, but same sort of quality from GT Spirit. Automobile, I got a gorgeous Datsun 200Z with wide wheel arches, but not Liberty Box. It's one of those stock standard wheel arches that they had in Japan, in the beautiful red that's sitting there, soon to be shot. And then again, don't forget, Burago has Ferrari license. The only guys that have affordable 1/18 scale Ferrari license. If you want to look at blowing your budget, your entire model collecting budget on a BBR 1/18 scale, then go right ahead, because the quality is fantastic and immaculate. But if you head over to your local dealer and you find Ferrari, they're coming out with a whole bunch of new models. They've got the Cylindri lined up, they've got the new F80 lined up. So
Check them out.
That's basically,
Check them out.
yeah.
Okay.
I think if you're looking at something below $100, your best brands are Solido, Maesto, and Burago, hands down. And they all do different things, because Maesto concentrates on all the American muscle. Burago has a fantastic Formula One and Ferrari lineup, and then Solido, they're just blowing up the ballpark. They've got a fantastic. I think it's out here somewhere. This is right now a 2025 model.
This is why we love having you here, Nigel.
And right now it is we're giving one away on our social media. So if anybody wants to win one of these, Solido will send it out to you. This is a 2025 RWB. It's called the Zebra, and this is the sort of level that RWB is coming out with. And interior, opening doors, It's really good. So
Cool. So do they need to go to Castheads to enter that, or to Salita's
yeah,
social media?
no, Castheads, you go to either our Facebook or our Instagram. We've asked a question which is simple: how many RWBs did Solido produce? And lucky winner, we'll get one of these sent to them next year.
Couldn't be easier.
Love it. All right. One other thing, shout outs to Reviews Through Another Lens for once again keeping me honest. It was Silkstone is what the Arsham cars are made out of, which is a synthetic stone, which is how they were able to make them so well proportioned. So that's how they did it. It was not actually carved out of stone. It was made from silkstone, a synthetic stone. So, all right. Well, cool. Well, while we're here, we're and again, this is why we only picked 3 each. We are well over an hour and 20 minutes in, and we only had 9 cars. And we like talking about tiny cars, people. You might have noticed this. This is why we have a podcast. So, all right. Well, Nigel, I know you brought a few other things you wanted to show before we wrap things up. You got a few minutes to show us. Yeah, we'll take a few minutes.
Sure.
Take a look at these. We'll do kind of a lightning round here, but
rapid fire.
Yeah,
rapid fire. Okay, here we go. Like I was saying earlier, Ferrari.
Yes,
by
I want that so bad.
This is the white version. It is absolutely gorgeous. Check out those wheels, guys.
Yeah,
love that. Incredible.
So yeah, huge fan of that. Then this is also brand spanking new. This is the RX3 Savannah. Again, Liberty Walks.
Very nice.
That's NO as well.
NO 64.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Then I haven't opened this up, and this I'll probably review it because we don't have much time. But guys, Sparky and Toy East are dropping some beautiful Porsches. This is a fantastic set, and they've got quite a few of these coming out. And very quickly, Jada 164.
Yes, sir. We love the pink slips over here.
Yep. Very nice.
I just love the colors
with the the collector tins that they come in.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find the Aston?
The Aston here is somewhere.
It's raining cars.
Hallelujah. Look at that. There it is.
Yep.
Very nice.
And the one that I also quite like, I really like this, is this version.
Mm-hmm.
A 918 Spider.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
This color variation. So yeah, I mean, that's the rapid round. I mean, I would really like to show these off as well if we have time. Do we have time?
Yeah,
okay,
let's do it. We got some time.
I don't think anybody's going to argue.
We still got 28 people here.
This is very kindly sent to me by 64. They have done only 2,000 versions of this. It is a one of those festival specials. But just look at that, guys.
Oh, sweet. Look at the wheels on that.
I love it. Very nice.
So yeah, I mean, where's the other one? Oh, yeah, tons of these, and this is the blue one. So if you're lucky enough to get yourself this set,
very nice.
So that's it from me. As far as I saw, somebody had mentioned something about Sparky. We have quite a few more models coming up on our Instagram, and
go check out Castheads. If you have not bothered to search for Castheads, it is really a it's a gift, Nigel, that you give to us collectors. It is
it's free, people.
It is class. It is top shelf. I mean, I don't know how you manage to put it all together every issue.
Well,
But they're amazing.
I do have a good team behind me. I'd like to give a shout out to them. My
Mhm.
social media manager, Shikad, and my main designer, Farhan. The two of them, without them, I don't think I'd be able to do half the stuff that I'm able to. And,
Mhm.
in fact, be with you guys, because while I'm talking with you guys and showing you guys these things, they're behind the scenes putting the magazine together and making sure the stuff that we do for social media gets put up. So yeah, it's a lot of hard work from the team, and I absolutely love them. And also, we will have the fortunate luck of being part of the Model Car Hall of Fame selection committee next year. So we will be looking at getting in more diecast brands and more stuff. In fact, this year we are the sponsors of the novice car category, and next year we have suggested some new categories as well. So we're expanding it, and I think we'll be doing a lot of exciting stuff with the Model Car Hall of Fame. And then, as being part of the selection committee, we're going to make sure that a lot of these models that you see here on the Diecast Media Network and on Castheads will make it into the Model Car Hall of Fame as well
Wait, you're on the selection committee?
Yeah.
from next
So
year.
is that how we ended up on that list?
I'm
No,
not this year. It's from next year.
All
there
right.
you go.
Well,
Thank
all
you
right.
for that,
Yeah.
Nigel.
For
Oh,
those
and
who
by the
don't know, go to the Model Car Hall of Fame and vote for us as content creators of the year. And if you can't vote for us, vote for Dan.
Yep.
at
Diecast
Diecast,
dude.
That's so funny. It's just like all these like super duper creators and also us.
Yeah. And by the way, Nigel alluded to it earlier. Diecast Media Network, one of the co-hosts, is going to have an article in Castheads magazine. So I want you guys to go check it out and see, and you'll understand why. And it ties in back to this show directly. One of the brands that we introduced on this show, one of us has done a review, and I think you'll like it. So we
Who
are
could it
excited
be?
to be a part of Castheads magazine.
Yeah, I've read
And
it. I'm sure you'll love it.
Yeah.
fantastic.
All right. All right, folks. Well, thank you again to Nigel of Castheads Magazine for joining us, and a shout out to you for making it to the end of another episode. If you made it to the end and you're watching the replay, give us a little chat shout out, because we always like to hear from the Made It to the End Club. And again, shout out to our patrons that make the show go. If you want to join their ranks, you can visit diecastbreakdown.com, because well, our model is free. We also don't have any advertisers. So this is the only way we pay for the stuff that keeps the lights on over here. So, again, we appreciate you. We appreciate everyone who likes the videos, shares the videos. If you get a chance to review it on your favorite audio podcasting app, that means a lot. That really helps. And if you like what we do, share it with a friend. That's the best way to help the show grow. And, we appreciate you. We're grateful that you've been with us through 2024. We've got a lot of great stuff planned in 2025. So be sure to stick around for that. And as always, we want to thank you for coming along with us for the ride. So until next time, stay fresh, cheese bags.